The economic problem, scarcity and choice. The economic theory enunciates the laws and principles which govern the functioning of an economy and its various parts. An economy exists because of two basic facts. First, human wants for goods and services are unlimited, and secondly, the productive resources with which to produce goods and services are scarce. With our wants being virtually unlimited and its resources are scarce, we cannot satisfy all our wants and desires by producing everything we want. That being the case, a society has to decide how to use its scarce resources to obtain the maximum possible satisfaction of its members. It is this basic problem of scarcity which gives rise to many of the economic problems which have long been the concern of economists. Since it is not possible to satisfy all wants with limited means of production, every society must decide some way of selecting those wants which had to be satisfied. The necessity for economizing arises therefore from the fact that we have limited productive resources such as land, raw materials, skilled manpower, capital equipment, etc. at our disposal. These resources being found in limited quantity, the quantity may however increase over time. The goods they can produce are also limited. Goods are thus scarce because the productive resources are scarce. Since the resources are limited or in related to our wants, we would get most out of what we have. Thus, a society is faced with the problem of choice among the vast array of wants that are to be satisfied. If it is decided to use more resources in one line of production, then resources must be withdrawn from the production of some other goods. The scarcity of resources therefore compels us to choose among the different channels of production to which resources are to be devoted. In other words, we have the problem of allocating resources so as to achieve the greatest possible satisfaction of of wants of the people. This is the economic problem. It is also the called the economizing problem. The scarcity of resources relative to human wants gives rise to the struggle of man for subsistence and efforts by him to promote his well-being. That the scarcity of resources in relation to human wants is the fundamental economic problem that can be easily understood in the context of poor and developing like India, where quite a large number of population live at a bare subsistence level, and the struggle for existence due to the scarcity of resources is too obvious in them to need any elaborate explanation. However, to say that the developed countries such as the United States of America, where affluence and prosperity have been brought about, also confront the scarcity problem, raises some doubts. But the fact is, despite their affluence and riches, developed societies to face the problem of scarcity of goods, their possession of goods and services have enormously increased, but so have their wants. Indeed, their wants for goods and services have been multiplying during the course of economic growth, so that their present wants still remain ahead of their resources and capability to produce. As has been said above, the problem of scarcity of resources is not only the result of availability of limited resources and capability to produce, but also of human wants. So long as human wants for goods and services remain ahead of the resources, both natural and acquired, the economic problem of scarcity would exist. If Americans today, for example, we content to live at the level of the Indian middle class people, all their wants would probably be fully satisfied with their available resources and capacity to produce. In that situation, they would face little or no scarcity and economic problem for them would, or no scarcity and economic problem for them would disappear. However, it needs to be emphasized again, the affluent and developed countries also of the United States of America and Western Europe face the problem of scarcity even today, as their present wants and run ahead of their increased resources and capacity to produce. Since all wants cannot be satisfied due to their scarcity of resources, we face the problem of choice among multiple wants which are to be satisfied. If it is decided to use more resources in one line of production, some resources must be withdrawn from another commodity. Thus the problem of choice from the viewpoint of society as a whole refers to which goods in what quantities are to be produced, and productive resources allocated for their production are accordingly, so as to achieve greatest possible satisfaction of the people. An eminent English economist, Lord Robbins, defines economics in terms of this basic economic problem. According to him, economics is a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce resources which have alternative uses. Herein refers to wants which are considered to be unlimited. The use and allocation of scarce resources to produce goods and services have to be such as would maximize satisfaction. This applies both to the behavior of the individual and of the society as a whole. The scarcity of resources also compels us to decide how the different goods should be produced. That is, what production method should be chosen for the production of goods so as to make best possible use of the available resources. If the resources were unlimited, the problem of how goods should be produced would not have arisen. This is because with unlimited resources it would not have matter. It would matter whichever method, efficient and inefficient, was employed for production of goods. Further, due to scarcity of resources, goods cannot be produced in abundant quantities to satisfy all wants of all the people of a society. This raises another problem of choice, namely who should get how much from the national output. This means how the national product is distributed among various members of a society. Thus, problem of scarcity gives rise to some problem generally known as basic economic problems, which a society has to solve so as to promote material well-being of its people. These basic economic problems relate to what commodities are to be produced, how they are to produce, how the national product is to be distributed among the people, and how much to provide the future growth.